evening. Welcome to the first episode of the McGonigal Podcast. I spent a lot of years being a mediocre joke writer and comedian. I decided to branch out and be a mediocre podcast host. So I don't know what the format's going to be like or what it's going to be. My ultimate goal is to do an even dumber version of The View. So hopefully that's what this will be. I couldn't start off with two better guests. On my left, podcast host, comedian, and stalker of celebrities at conventions, John Kensil.
Hey, people.
And on my right, I don't know what he's doing here. He actually has a career. Chip, what are you doing on this dumb podcast?
I think you're a mediocre joke writer, a mediocre podcaster, and a very mediocre booker for podcast guests because you scrape the bottom of the barrel with the two of us.
This is a shame. Chip had a career. This is probably going to kill him.
This is it. Any glimmer I had it's all gone.
Chip has a role in the upcoming Netflix series Tires, and he's going to be having a YouTube special soon, and he'll probably be hanging himself in shame after this podcast airs.
Yeah,
but
that would, regardless of the podcast.
I have no idea what the format of this show is going to be like. If it's like everything else I do, it'll be a disaster. But hopefully we'll give it a shot. We'll start off. I have some topics written down. It's good that you're here, Chip.
I'm glad to be here.
They recently announced the inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Jimmy Buffett. How the fuck is Jimmy Buffett in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Jim, you can't agree with that.
I mean, posthumously, I guess. You know, he's got a lot of fans. Those parrot heads, they're just drunk. They're looking to have a good time, and
it's a bunch of accountants.
To me, it's like your uncle with bad taste is going to be ecstatic.
Plus,
Jimmy Buffett's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I can't see how.
They need another word than rock and roll. I'm thinking like, leather vests and punching people in the face and, slapping Girl Scouts.
Yeah. And they put Cher in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Anytime you're being carried by Sonny Bono, you don't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. If Sonny Bono was the main ingredient, you don't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Missy Elliott beat Johnny Cash.
Well, at least Missy Elliott, that's probably for rap, an old man like me, I don't understand it, but she's probably great. Okay. But here's the thing. They put Foreigner in it. Foreigner.
Yeah.
I always thought Foreigner was like if the Beatles and the Stones got together and decided to intentionally make bad albums, that would be Foreigner. And they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, I don't know how they can keep doing this. At this point, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is like a bringer show. I mean, there's no point to having this thing. It was cool when it first started, but now what's the point of this? What's the point of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
With Foreigner and Jimmy Buffett in now, I think that the board at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is just my ex-girlfriend's dad's. I think that's all it is.
It's got to be. It's got to be divorced dads just sitting around with nothing to do and just putting anybody in.
Yeah.
I think that's
pretty soon the nitty-gritty dirt band will be in there, for Christ's sakes. They're putting anybody in.
And there's, oh my God, the list of people that aren't in there, it's incredible. And
Warren Zevon. How is Warren Zevon not in a Rock and all these
crazy.
other? That's insane to me.
Yeah. Right.
He's the biggest, the glaring omission to me.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When he beat his wife, he had a beat to it. I mean, so he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's terrible. That haircut alone.
In the morning on the classic rock station in Philadelphia.
Oh, very good. Yeah. The same 50 songs over and over again.
It's the same
great
ones,
format.
Right? But every once in a while, they'll throw in Love is a Battlefield by Pat Benatar.
Oh, yeah. Thank God she's in.
Yeah.
I mean, who's at home going, I want to hear that rock and roll song? That's a rock.
That classic rock, it's the same 50 songs for the rest of your life. Who could listen to that?
I know.
If I can give a suggestion, give a plug right now, we have family friends up in Maine. And we get right outside of Bar Harbor. And one of my favorite things about going up there every summer is we just sit in the cabin. I turn the radio on to, it's like 97.1 or something, WKIT in Brewer, Bangor. And it was this classic rock station for years. And Clear Channel was going to buy it back in the 90s and just, of course, turn it to crap. And your friend and mine, Stephen King, who lives up there and is a huge rock and roll fan, heard about it, was like, no, I'm buying it so Clear Channel can't. Bought it and just turned the reins over. It was like, just keep doing what you're doing. And it's the coolest rock station.
Nice.
They play Space Truckin' by ZZ Top.
Nice.
And
really?
Nice.
Deep cuts, weird stuff. Friday is all live music. And then they do the Elwood Blues, the syndicated shows, Little Steven's Underground thing. But you can listen to it online. It's WKIT in Brewer Bangor.
Right.
it puts ours to shame because it's always the same.
It's the first good thing Stephen King's done since Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's been about a 25-year drought. Good for him. Good for Stephen King.
Yeah.
On satellite radio, there's Little Steven's Underground Garage.
Great show.
That should be what classic rock station is.
So good.
That's really good.
Do you remember what's the premise of that show? It's like, there's a certain band where he's like, it's every band that influenced them or that is influenced by them. It's like the Kinks or
Ramones, or
maybe it's the Ramones. Like everybody who influenced, who influenced the Ramones or is
but he
influenced
plays.
by the Ramones.
Classic rock. He plays some Motown, the girls group.
Yep.
I mean, it's great. That's what classic rock station should be.
Yeah.
Not that 50.
Not the Red Hot Chili Peppers over and over again.
Speaking of music, Taylor Swift came out with a new album. We all agree she stinks, right? Taylor Swift is awful.
Right.
Chip, you.
I will say this. I never listened to anything. I didn't know anything about her. And I listened to 1989, and it's catchy and fun. I listened to it once, and that's all I know about it. But I was like, this is catchier than I thought. But that's all I know.
The new album is called Tortured Poets Department. I heard some of the songs. It ain't just poets who are going to be tortured. Everybody's going to be tortured. I mean, holy mackerel. You got a generation that's just...
like there aren't poets that aren't tortured. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, remember during the Super Bowl, she was going to be there with her boyfriend, and you weren't allowed to make fun of her, or else like it turned like politics.
They were going to put a hex on you.
Yeah, right. The song she has, haters going to hate. You know.
Yeah.
It must have taken at least 10 minutes to write that song.
She got sued over that too.
For bad taste, though, not the actual stealing. I'm assuming.
And she's from the Allentown area.
Oh, well, that's great.
And,
thank God. Why couldn't she be from somewhere else? That way we wouldn't have anything to do with it. She had to be from here.
I just saw an interview. Some cable guy who worked on her family's house a lot came over and showed her some guitar chords, like 3 simple chords. Well, when she became famous, he starts billing himself as her Taylor Swift's guitar teacher. He's
the guy. Yeah.
Right. Taylor Swift's guitar teacher. Who would brag about it? You should deny teaching her anything. I had nothing to do with Taylor Swift. She ignored me. She didn't do anything I told her to do. I mean, Taylor Swift, good Lord. Now, on this podcast, there's 2 names I never want to mention. Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I want nothing to do with the two of them. Keep that out.
Could we throw Pat House's name in there too?
Well, I mean, I was trying to keep that under the table.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you insist.
Yeah.
But I will say, with the election coming up, RFK Jr. is running. Can we agree we got stuck with the boring Kennedy? I mean, the thing about the Kennedys used to be fun. There was women, there was car crashes,
The bridges.
there was lobotomies.
Yeah.
And then we got the boring Kennedy.
Yeah.
How did we get him? It used to be Kennedys were high with women. They were high. They were stealing votes. Lobotomies. Did I mention lobotomies? Because you can never mention lobotomies enough times. But we got the boring Kennedy. This guy does nothing.
Yeah,
He's the most boring.
He's like the Fredo of.
Did you see his sister? She talks just like him with that.
Really?
I swear to
Yeah,
God.
I saw that. I saw.
She has the same vocal affliction.
Yeah.
Why did we get the boring Kennedy?
I know.
What about the old man was banging Gloria Swanson?
Somebody. Yeah.
We get stuck with the boring guy.
Yeah. Just get Peter Lawford's nephew or somebody cool.
That's what you wouldn't know who it was anyway.
Wouldn't it be cool if he was banging Sidney Sweeney and he's he's a real Kennedy. Instead, what do we got? We got the boring Kennedy. You fall asleep listening to him.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, you drown somebody. Pick it up. Couldn't be more boring. The more we get stuck with the boring Kennedy.
Yeah.
Dull.
And then, the thing I don't like about him is he's always, CIA killed my father, the CIA killed my uncle, the big pharma lied about the vaccine. I hate it when a weirdo is accurate. You know what I mean? I hate it when a weirdo tells the truth. I mean, for God's sakes.
A stop clock.
There's no reason for that. I mean,
I was going to say, yeah.
He's right about everything too. It's
that's what I hate when a weirdo is accurate. Who needs that?
He's also he really needs that. Just go live on Cape Cod and have fun.
Exactly.
You know?
Why would he be? And I love that his whole family. He's the one Kennedy who, if he gets assassinated, is probably his own family shooting him. The way they're against him.
A video came out. His whole family are against him.
That's what I mean.
Right.
When did this? It used to be the Kennedys. They circled the wagons. They stuck up for each other.
Yeah.
And the red-haired Kennedy kid.
Oh, that narrows it down.
He has curly red hair, but he crashed his car he was taking sleeping pills.
Well, I hope so. I hope at least he's keeping the family tradition alive. This RFK Jr. was the most boring guy you've ever seen in your life. How do you have that one dead body? And he calls himself a Kennedy.
Yeah. He's the one guy that wouldn't get picked for touch football.
Exactly. I mean, steal some votes.
You know who his wife is?
Yeah, the
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Cheryl Hines. Yeah, well, that's the only thing he did. Like, he left his first wife for an actress. So again, he was a little bit like a Kennedy, but that's the only thing he's done Kennedy-esque. The only Camelot thing in him, for God's sake, was leaving his first wife.
Wait, what happened to his wife? Did his first wife die or she killed herself?
Oh,
what happened?
Did she?
Well,
Well, maybe I'm underestimating him. Maybe he's got okay. He does have a dead woman in his history. All right.
Something happened weird, and then I think it was something where he they buried her, but then he moved her, and they buried her
Hung herself in a barn.
What's that?
It says hung herself in a barn.
Oh, well, you know what? I might owe him an apology. He is a Kennedy. He's got a dead woman in his history. You got a dead woman in your history, you are a Kennedy. I apologize. I underestimated this poor guy. I underestimated.
Oh my God, I didn't know that story.
Holy mackerel! Usually the Kennedys kill him; they don't kill themselves. He put a twist on it. What the hell? Listen, I read recently there was another one of these school shootings. You ever notice that the kid who's banging the teacher is never the kid who shoots up the school? It's never the same kid.
He's having a good time.
The kid who bangs the teacher, he never has ADD. He never has anxiety.
Straight A's.
He never goes to a therapist. It's never. I'm not saying the teacher should bang a kid, but he's never the shooter. The kid banging the teacher is never the shooter.
Yeah.
Chip, you as a former teacher, do you advocate banging the students?
I mean, hey, there's no lockdown needed then. Do you know what I mean? It's like, Timmy and Mrs. Anderson are back in the room. Everybody shelter in place.
I don't want to say you should, but they don't shoot the school up. So that's what I'm saying. Even maybe how about a little handy at recess? Then nobody's getting shot. I'm just saying,
Also, too, there's several websites of pictures of the teachers. They're all pretty blondes. Right?
That's why the kid doesn't shoot anybody because the little babes are banging.
Yeah, my teachers are like they're in the 70s. They're like Henry Kissinger with a fright wig and a vajummic.
But I remember there was some pretty. Maybe they were banging the kids, but I never had a school shooting in my school. Maybe somebody was getting laid. I didn't know about it. But maybe the nuns were giving out the handies. I don't know, but it's possible. But all I can tell you is it's never the same kid. It's never the same. All right, speaking of kids in high school, I got to ask you guys this question: if you had a son who transitioned, and then he got cut from the girls' basketball team, how embarrassed would you be? Because if you transition, you got to at least make the girls' basketball team. I mean, you can't have.
You gotta be like a power forward. Yeah.
I mean, imagine if you don't make the girls. You go through all that surgery for nothing, all those hormones, and you don't even make the girls' sports team. Would you disown your kid if he transitioned? He didn't make the girls' softball team.
She'd be selling pretzels.
I mean, how embarrassed would you be? You'd have to be embarrassed.
I think my dad was relieved that I didn't make the 8th grade boys basketball team because then he wouldn't see how terrible I am. So I think I would I'd be just as good.
I wish they had this transitioning back in my era because my father was always yelling at me. I didn't transition. Little Timmy transitioned. It would give me something. Now the transition's the hot thing. Would have gave me one thing to point to. My father was calling me useless. And I said, I didn't transition. I'm always too late.
That's a plus in my book.
That's a plus. Your father would have loved it, John. He was always ready to hit John in the head with a plumbing wrench. For God's sakes. He would have loved if you didn't transition. It would have been one good thing. I had nothing else to point to in my life. When I played bench in Little League, did you guys play bench? I played bench.
Oh yeah, I was deep bench.
I mean, I don't know what I was thinking being on it.
I was
trying out for Little League.
I think I was the worst in Little League because I was just very mediocre. I wasn't the worst kid where I was like, well, then I'm just quitting because I'm terrible. I was just good enough just to make the team and be horrible.
What sport has metal cleats? Baseball, football?
Baseball, yeah.
Baseball and golf.
All right.
That's when I realized it was different. Like when you're kids, the different levels of talent, even though you're the same age. I didn't realize until I went out for a Little League team. Oh fuck, these guys are way better than me. Just playing a regular street game, you didn't realize.
Oh yeah, you didn't know it.
And my God.
Yeah.
And you realize, no, I don't belong anywhere near here. Good Lord.
Little League had the two things that I was worst at: hand-eye coordination and waiting my turn.
Yes.
I was like, no, I did it for 2 years. I was like, I can't wait to stop this season. I can't wait for baseball
Literally,
to be over.
the thing I was worst at, being popular. I mean, God, that I failed at that. I sat at the end of the bench. Nobody talked to me. The coaches wanted to shoot me. It was just, I don't know how many years I did it, but it was too many. That's for damn sure.
I still remember we were like shorthanded one game, or we were going to be shorthanded, and like I was always an outfielder, if that, and they needed a catcher. The regular catcher wasn't there, and they were going to put me in all the catcher gear, and I was just trying to talk my coach. I was like, he's going to show up. He's going to show up. Let's wait 5 more minutes. And he did show up, luckily. But I'm like, I am not going through this humiliation.
When I was on the original, it was the type of thing where everybody had to play, and my coach was furious because he didn't want to play me, and I couldn't blame him. I was on his side. What are you going to play him for?
Yeah.
It was just terrible.
They had me go out for the mascot, Captain Scrapple. This is Philadelphia.
We were like the type, like we were so bad, like we were the type of kids that always just showed up in like jeans. You know what I mean? Like didn't even try. Yeah.
I remember putting a uniform on and thinking I was going, man, this is going to be great. Didn't you see how much better the other kids were? And I could have died of embarrassment. When you're just playing wiffle ball and stuff, you don't realize.
No, it's more
there's
even.
different levels of talent.
I had more fun in the corner.
Oh, of course. I
Yeah.
had way more fun playing the street games.
Yeah.
There was no
was fun.
embarrassment. I mean, an old lady would come out and throw a pan at you, but otherwise it was fine.
I always wanted to be good at a sport, so it started out with soccer. We all played soccer, but like my friends were all better than me. And then we started with like basketball and baseball, and they were always better than me. So I always tried to find more and more obscure sports, so I would be the only one playing. Like I started playing tennis, and then they would catch up with me to that. So then it's like all of a sudden I'm playing frisbee golf just because nobody else played. I'm like, I'm the best at frisbee golf.
I was so bad, I actually got down to Stratomatic baseball. That's how bad I was as an athlete. Stratomatic, me
What's
and
that?
another guy playing it, like a little card game. It's Dungeons and Dragons for sports fans is what Stratomatic is. It was just an embarrassment.
What's the other electronic football?
Right.
I thought they had a
But
baseball version.
Stratomatic isn't even electronic. It's just awful. I mean, it's just horrible. Just horrible. Speaking of which, talking about sports, the big thing was Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was she's a big star. Let me ask you a question. If you went to a women's basketball game, would you A, fall asleep in the first quarter, B, fall asleep during the national anthem, or C, fall asleep during the pregame tailgate? How long would you stay awake with a women's basketball game?
I refuse to go to any basketball game unless it's a Globetrotters game.
Yes.
That's it.
There
That's
you go.
it.
I like
Just-
that. But
they're cheaters.
It's entertainment. Yeah.
I love that they're trying to make people be a. They're trying harder to make you be a women's basketball fan than they were to make you take the vaccine. I mean, they're like, watch that they're putting it on everything. Caitlin Clark. Who's?
I know.
I mean, and I love these guys. I hope if you sitting there watching these WNBA games, you're getting laid, because if you're not even getting laid and you're watching it, that's awful. It's like going to a Taylor Swift concert. It's the same thing. If you're not getting laid, good God. I mean, they're trying to push this Caitlin Clark. I mean, it's brutal. And the Indiana Fever she's playing for. And you'd have to have a fever to watch women's basketball. So I think it's actually appropriate.
Yeah.
I think
Coles.
I can't.
By the way, yeah, I think that's what my grandfather used to call being hungover. He had the Indiana fever. Yeah.
Well, the Irish flu. Yeah, of course. Hey, they just overturned Harvey Weinstein's conviction. Does this prove that ladies just can't take a joke? They overturned it. I mean, women take things way too serious. The thing about Harvey is, I thought it was bad taste when he went to Hooters for his victory lunch after he got out. I thought, Harvey, what are you doing? Were you glad to see Harvey get out? Were you hold a sign up?
I
Go,
mean,
Harvey.
I was free Harvey. Now he's got his modeling career ahead of him now.
It's going to sound weird. Does your mind get blurry? Like there's Epstein, Weinstein.
yeah.
If you had a chance to get a
Keanu.
part in one of his movies, would you give him a hand job? Or would you be willing to? I mean, those are big movies. You had to think.
Did
Little
you,
Swingers reboot. Yeah.
did you read the evidence that came out when the women described his personal area?
Yeah.
They said they don't know what it was. It was all warped.
Really?
If I feel like can take this podcast in a different direction. They describe Harvey Weinstein's junk as they don't know what it is.
They said he would
like a VHS tape that got left in the car in the heat. Yeah.
Well, mine would never win any prizes either. I got to be honest with you. No, anytime I've ever gone to a female doctor, they've already rolled their eyes when they had to give me an exam. So I can't imagine it's any worse. Mine's any worse than his.
Like I would be. Maybe he's got like a porn career ahead of him. Like because everybody just needs to see the freak show that
He's almost as ugly as Ron Jeremy. Why not? He could be in there.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is they said he would masturbate in the food and the plants, and I was thinking if you go to the movies with him, don't get butter on your popcorn. For God's sakes, you don't know what's coming with Harvey. But listen, maybe we'll get some good movies again. We haven't had any good movies since he went to jail. If you think about it, so there's an upside. Is all I'm saying. You don't have to sit through some of these bad movies. I'm saying, but again, ladies, lighten up. That's all. Harvey's back. Maybe Matt Lauer will be next. Who knows? Maybe he'll be back on the news again. Listen, I'm trying to start something. Maybe you guys can help me. I'm trying to start a movement. Trying to start a rumor that Sylvester Stallone was a slave owner, so they'll finally take that Rocky statue down from in front of the art museum. Can you help me push that? Sylvester had a plantation. That's the only thing that can get that stupid statue down. Is there any other way to get it down? It's in front of the art museum, for Christ's sakes, and it's the Rocky statue.
Yeah, it's like there's other boxers that we could be putting up there, or like other athletes that we could. And it shouldn't even be at the art museum. Like I get that it was in Rocky
III.
III.
Art museum, for Christ's sakes. It should be in front of I don't know, like an Italian steak shop or something. Something.
Just like right in between Pat's and Gino's.
Italian tattoo shop. That's what a Rocky statue should be, right in front of that.
I don't know if you've seen it lately. There's a Rocky store. He has like a back of a tractor trailer, like half
that
one of
must
them.
be great.
But it sells Rocky memorabilia too.
Oh,
Right
that
next to the
must be great.
statue.
Does it have acting lessons? Because I don't think Stallone ever stopped by.
Wait, what's Rocky? What is that?
Rocky, the statue in front of the art museum.
No, but what is that from? Is that
Rocky
like
III.
Is Sylvester Stallone? He's an actor, right?
Yes.
Oh, he's the guy from Stop Where My Mom Will Shoot, right?
That guy.
Oh, he did a boxing movie too. Oh,
He did. He did. It's right up on his resume. And don't forget the Lords of Flatbush, which you talk about acting. Anytime Henry Winkler's stealing scenes from you, you're not the greatest actor. You're in bad shape.
Didn't you have a joke about that? Like, who's going to fight in this next movie? And you said like the dictionary, or was that Mike Tyson?
It sounds like a bad joke I would have written. Something as bad as I would have written. Yeah, that sounds like a poor taste joke that I would have jotted down. But we got it. I mean, it's amazing. That's the statue when people come to the Philadelphia Art Museum. The Rocky statue.
That famous Bill Burr event. Because a statue to a boxer never existed.
Yeah.
You have Joe Frazier, and there's nothing for him.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell people I'm stealing from Bill Burr, John.
Sorry.
That was a secret. That was a secret. When I steal, I like to keep it a little bit quiet.
Like, who could we put to replace the Rocky statue there just to make it just as bad? Like
John Oates.
John
Oates. I wasn't even thinking right. Same time.
Joey Bishop. Joey Bishop was from Philadelphia. Put a Joey Bishop statue in front of the art museum, for Christ's sake. What I mean?
Yeah.
David Brenner. How about a David Brenner statue in front of the art museum? Sylvester Stallone.
Just put a Captain Noah in front of the Navy Yard. Yeah.
They had Frank Rizzo down there in front of the Workers Union Hall.
Yeah.
Larry Fine on top of the...
Yeah.
On top of City Hall. I mean, Sylvester Stallone statue.
I was so disappointed. I found out as an adult. Actually, it was. You know who it was? Because I made a joke, and Paul F. Tompkins yelled at me on Twitter and corrected me because I made a joke about Joe Carcione, the greengrocer. Right. And he was from like San Diego or something. I didn't realize it was syndicated.
It was syndicated all over the. Yeah, that's right.
I didn't think he was a.
Yeah, everybody
down in the Italian market.
Part of the Action News team when you were a kid. You didn't realize. Then you found out he was syndicated. Yeah.
Arugula is in season. It's a good vegetable.
Joe Carcione.
Something just bit my ankle.
Your greengrocer with your tip for the day. So what'd you think? Christy Nome shot a dog. Christy Nome.
Oh yeah, she got tired of it.
Here's the thing. She's a pretty conservative who shoots puppies. She's got to be Dick Cheney's wet dream, right? She's got to be. But that's unbelievable. She would shoot a puppy, and she's not even in the top 10 of the craziest Republicans. That's the thing. You shouldn't. No, you don't even come close to making the craziest Republican.
It makes the Mitt Romney putting his dog on the roof like a fun Disney romp at this point.
You can shoot a puppy. You don't even make the Republican crazy all-star team.
I remember reading this gnome story as I was eating my veal.
There he goes.
Chicken wings. I'm kidding.
Oh, I see, because you...
Animals.
Animal. Thanks for jumping in with that. That's great. That was... Veal. What else are you supposed to do with a dog?
Yeah, I don't know what the dog did. Did he look at her funny?
There was a legendary story in my family that my dad was a kid. They had a dog, and my grandfather, John McGonigal, was an old school Irish cop, and the dog apparently bit a couple people in the neighborhood. And supposedly he made my dad's oldest brother, Jack McGonigal, take the dog in back of the house and shoot him. Oh, that was always this is like, I guess, the 1930s.
Yeah.
And that was the famous story. I don't know if it was true. Oh. And if Jack's grandkids are watching, they're probably pissed if it's not true. They're probably, but supposedly, because when I had a dog when I was a kid, when I wasn't taking care of it, my dad would always say, take care of that dog. We're getting Uncle Jack over here. We're going to get Uncle Jack with his rifle over. But supposedly he shot the dog in back of the house. I don't know if it's true.
He put a gun in a dog's paw. So.
Old school Irish cop. He tried to. You might be right. But I mean, it's great. Everybody's going crazy because she's out there. They said Trump is turned. Imagine Trump being offended by something, and there I go breaking my own rule not to mention Trump's name in the first episode.
I just like how Ed's family took him back and shot a dog. Just like there's another one that just has that invented flubber. It's just there's a plot from every movie that. Ed's one aunt over in England took in 3 little kids and she flew her bed to this under the water. Yeah.
Most of them were just drinking though. Most of my family history, Days of Wine and Roses. That would be leaving Las Vegas would be the McGonigal story for most of them. But
they had a gunslinger with Don Knotts and Tim Conway.
The Apple Dumpling. The Apple Dumpling Gang.
I hate to brag about most of my family history, but
Ed's great aunt and her daughter switched places one Friday.
Shaggy.
My uncle owned a place in Casablanca, and his old girlfriend came in. He said, of all the gin joints and all the work, she had a walk in money. I hate to brag about all my old relatives. That happened. Whatever. Here's something I want to ask you guys. Pumpkin spice. You guys into this pumpkin spice?
I've had it once.
To me, pumpkin spice is for people who don't have the balls to do cocaine. Right? I mean, you get all excited. I mean, just do cocaine. Just do meth. How can you do pumpkin spice? I don't get people who think they're living on the edge by doing pumpkin spice. All these women.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice beer, pumpkin spice candy. I mean, just do cocaine. It's ridiculous.
Just cut it with mistletoe. Just really get into the.
Pumpkin spice.
I mean, they're addicts for pumpkin. You go to rehab for pumpkin spice. Some crazy broad. So I have to cut back on my pumpkin spice. It's getting to be too bad of a habit. Yeah. My son, little Dylan, didn't recognize me anymore.
She's got the cinnamon shakes. Yeah.
Any jack-o'-lanterns around here?
Who's taking? I've never had it, and hopefully never will.
She's just waiting at the Starbucks at K&A.
Giving out blowjobs for pumpkin spice behind the dumpster. I mean, just ridiculous. I don't get this pumpkin spice. Just get a bottle of Mad Dog 2020. Be a person about it. Pumpkin spice.
Yeah, just put whiskey in your coffee and be done.
Yeah, just do the right thing for God's sake.
Yeah.
Here's something I want to bring up. Next month, in June, Juneteenth, which is now a national holiday, but it falls right in the middle of Pride Month. I don't know about you. All day I walk around not sure who I'm supposed to apologize to. Which group I'm supposed to be making amends to. Do you have that confusion on Juneteenth?
All the time.
Should I apologize to African Americans, gay Americans, everybody in general? I mean, how can I have the two things at the same time? You walk around, if you're a dumb white guy like me, you're just walking around you're dizzy from apologizing.
Yeah. It's also Rip Taylor Appreciation Week that week.
That's another thing.
Just walking around.
Chips always like 420.
Yeah.
It's the pot day, but it's also
somebody's birthday.
So it is Shecky Green's birthday. Why do they have it on pot day, for God's sake? That's awful. How could they do that to Shecky? How could they do that to our wonderful? But I mean, Juneteenth, they had to put it right in the middle. I mean, if you're a black gay guy, it's like Christmas. It's great. It's awesome. But for some white guy like me, you don't know who to say sorry to.
It's like if a kid has his birthday on Christmas, he only gets one set of presents. Yeah.
And this is a good time for John to do his 9/11 joke.
I feel sorry for the people that were born 9/11 because it's so close to Christmas.
Oh, here comes the plane right now.
What was
it? Oh, it's a train. Is that what? Is it a train that went past?
Yeah, they're going to take us to a camp for this bad comedy. They're going to take us to a concentration camp. Everybody on the train, for God's sake. This is fun.
So it's Juneteenth. It's right in the middle of Pride Month.
Right in the middle of Pride Month. It's absurd. What else are they going to throw in? You know what I mean? They're going to hand it. handicapped sorrow day right in the middle of the we apologize to everybody on the same day, for Christ's sake.
It's sweeps weeks too. You know.
Yeah, it's sweeps week. And I'm pretty sure they run the Preakness. So it's ridiculous. For Christ's sakes.
I went to the Preakness one year. My friend was getting married, and he did his bachelor party at Preakness. It's the craziest.
Yeah, I had friends who used to go every year. Yeah, it's crazy. I never went, but it's crazy.
I was like 23 at the time, and like I thought I could drink. It was. I didn't see a horse the entire day. We were just in the infield, so it's just thousands of people in the infield, and the only thing you just couldn't bring glass in. But we literally we went to like Home Depot the night before and bought a trash can that you would drag out to the street, like that size trash can, like whatever, how many gallons it is, and just filled it with ice and beer, and we could bring that in for like 6 of us.
Man.
And it was the most drunk I've ever been. And it's, again, I didn't see a horse the entire time. And it's just thousands of people.
No,
Just,
the Kentucky Derby's in Kentucky, but the Preakness is upstate New York.
No,
Maryland. It's like outside of
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Yeah.
The Belmont Stakes is up the
So
other, the third leg of
the Triple Crown.
It's
It's Preakness, Kentucky Derby, and the other one, Belmont. No,
Belmont Stakes, which is
Belmont
up in New
Stakes,
York.
yeah.
That's the one up in New York. And this is really fascinating
Oh,
for a
I know.
comedy podcast. To get into this.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm sure people turned it off already. Nobody's even watching it. I'm going to turn it off before this, for Christ's sake. I can't imagine anybody who's tuning in would. I would say the drunkest I've ever been, but the stories would go too long. And I think there's still some statute of limitations issues.
He's not allowed in Bed Bath & Beyond anymore.
Well, you know,
true.
among other things. Listen, I was trying to think, is there anything sadder? We weren't talking about the internet, but I'm going to pretend we were talking about the internet. Is there anything sadder than the 50-year-old woman who starts an OnlyFans page? Is there anything sadder than that woman? The 50-year-old, in 1999, she was the hottest woman in the AOL chat room, and now she was the hottest woman in Blockbuster Video, and now she's 50 and she's on OnlyFans. Is there anything sadder than that? How much would you pay for that? Only 50-year-old OnlyFans?
With a gallstone scar.
Yes, they're stretch marks, but they're sexy stretch marks, for Christ's sakes. I mean, who would pay for that? I would only watch for like 3 hours, and I'd say, I'm done now with the 50-year-old.
3 hours and out. That's it, yeah.
I mean,
Man.
he's 50. It's amazing how many women they don't, Father Time, they don't notice. He's tapping them on the shoulder and they don't get it. He's right behind you. He's Father Time. Sort of like comedians who won't give it up, and Father Time's right behind them. Not that we even know anything about that.
Yeah.
But
She's sponsored by Brand.
have you ever been on OnlyFans? Have you ever?
I've never been on OnlyFans, and I think it is so sad that a 50-year-old woman be on there. Also, check out my YouTube comedy special.
Yeah, and I'm on YouTube too. It's a not so special. Ed just put it Ed McGonigal. You'll hate it. You'll hate it almost as much as you hate this podcast. But listen, it's whatever.
The one girl from the Sopranos, Dre D'Amato, she's in her 50s.
I don't understand paying for nudity on the internet. Like you can't just go on Google Images and find nudity. You have to pay for it.
I think she said for the first couple months she wasn't nude. People just wanted to talk to her, and she paid her mortgage off.
Who would pay for? Who would pay? There's so much on the internet. I mean,
For free. And
who would pay for this? You gotta be kidding.
I know.
By the way, this podcast is behind a paywall, right? Is that,
Microsoft.
Yes, I have to pay you to watch it. It's an original kind of paywall. Yeah. Me and John will pass a hat around, and then we'll pay you to watch it. You know what's cool about this podcast? I picture the legendary Whit at home watching, and he's not hearing a slow teardrop going down his cheek. So it's just, Whit, it's nothing personal. We wanted to keep it funny. So,
Yeah.
it's nothing personal, Whit, I promise.
But instead of some litter on the highway, it's just like a giant Dunkin' Donuts sign, or like a Philly Fanatic doll that's like, and like a mannequin foot. Yeah.
He's crying over his copy of Abbott and Costello Go to Mars. Like,
Did you buy porno when you were young? Did your friends always have? Somebody had, right? Somebody had a magazine. Did you grow up?
I do remember finding it in the woods.
it was really a lot. We're older than you, but like Foot Lockers in the woods.
Did you have the printed edition, or when you grew up, were you already online for porno?
I remember like friends of mine at college would have like the
magazines.
Magazines, yeah. So they were like magazines, and then and then like sometimes they'd have like the video cassettes. Well, I actually worked at a video store that had the back room.
Wow.
And
Okay,
that
I wasn't sure you were old enough for that. Like you were like this mid to late 90s you're talking about?
Yeah. So late 90s,
yeah.
I was working there. I was in college, and it was amazing because there was like there would be a guy that would come so we closed, I think, at like 11 p.m. and he would show up every night at 10:40 with 4 pornos that he would drop off, like VHSs, and then he would go back and get 4 more within 20 minutes, like kind of like sort of like the Super Toy Run, Toys R Us Nickelodeon thing where he had to run around and just grab it real quick. And so he'd grab like 4 more and then check it out. And every night at 10:40, he would show up with 4 more. And then there was this one lady would come in, her like adult son lived with her, and she would yell at us on his behalf, and she's like, why don't you have more man videos? He wants more man videos, and you don't have a good selection. I'm like, I'm not the guy who orders them, ma'am.
He wanted man-on-man videos?
Yeah, he wanted man-on-man videos. She's like, why don't you have a better selection of the man videos? I was like,
and
ma'am,
how old were you at this point?
I was like 19.
Yeah, because you go to a 19-year-old looking for your porno. These very well-adjusted people. John, when you were a kid, what was the best porno mag? The filthiest?
Oh, Puritan.
Puritan.
Wait, that's a real. I don't remember that.
But Puritan it made Hustler look like Reader's Digest. It was unbelievable.
It was like a pop-out book?
It was
European.
Unbelievable how filthy it was.
They make adult romance videos.
I had a friend of mine, my friend Mo. Hello, Mo, if you're watching. He was.
I know.
He loved Puritan. Like if you had a Playboy or a penthouse, he'd get it. Well, get Puritan. He'd be like, throw the Playboy. Where's Puritan?
They showed everything.
It was ridiculous how filthy this magazine was.
It was the dirtiest one.
It was the dirtiest magazine. Puritan. It was unbelievable. And of course, me and John grew up in the era of Prism. You don't remember? Do you remember Prism?
I mean, I remember Prism. Yeah.
It was home team sports. And on the weekend, late night, Friday and Saturday, they would show softcore movies.
Yeah.
So you had the sports and it was amazing. Like your parents didn't know because they thought you were just watching it for the sports. They didn't know they were showing these movies.
Yeah.
Like
It was Flyers games.
Flyer. We got the Phillies, home games of the Phillies. And then
Somebody's a real Pelly Lindbergh fan.
They'd be showing the Cinderella, the Snow White, the X-rated versions.
Yeah.
Prism was the greatest channel ever.
You can watch them today. They were on regular TV.
And they would show movies too, like regular movies, like that would also be on HBO, but they'd be on Prism too. It was the greatest channel. It was
I
amazing.
remember when I was in college, we had a cable, and then the cable up in Allentown, whatever it was, gave everybody free Cinemax,
right?
Like as a trial,
right?
But it was during finals week, so like every guy did terribly on finals that year because they weren't studying at all; they were just watching Cinemax. That's all it was.
We had. Me and John, the scrambled, your regular cable, there'd be a scrambled channel, and you literally would sit there. I just saw a tit.
Yeah.
You didn't see one, but you thought you did.
Yes.
You thought you saw it.
Steve Reeves had a great joke about that because you're watching scrambled porn, like you're all you know, and all right, and you're watching, and in the middle you hear score Paraguay. You're watching soccer. But he's right. But you couldn't see anything. It was like snow.
I remember that.
For a second, he's like a breast.
You would convince yourself you saw something. I just saw pussy. You didn't see anything, but you would brainwash yourself. You'd tell your friend would be going, I think I saw it too. You saw nothing, but
it's like one of those magic eye puzzles.
Oh, absolutely.
I only get turned on watching Poltergeist now.
Nobody wanted to be the guy in the room who said, I didn't see it. What are you, a fag? You didn't see it? For Christ's sakes, it's right in front of you. So you pretended you saw it. You didn't see it, but whatever. But it was
Select
awesome.
TV.
Go back to this awful sheet of crap I prepared. I don't know why.
By the way, one thing I did, speaking of the video store, my buddy Adrian and I, he's a great guy. He's out in LA now. We worked together at the video store, and this one guy came in one time. He's this old guy, and he's like, you got Rocky 2? And I was like, and I knew I had just rented it out. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't have Rocky 2. And so he's like, you sure? And I was like, yeah. He's like, look it up for me. And I'm like, sir, I know I don't have it, but sure. But I went on the computer and I was like, yeah, it just got rented out. I'll be back in 2 days. So he's like, well, can you go look out on the floor to double think? He really wanted Rocky 2. And it's one of those like you know how it's like you walk around, it's like the walls that are like 4 feet tall, the aisles. Yeah. And my buddy Adrian was out there. He was cleaning out there. He was the only other one in the store. And Adrian goes, Chip, I'll look for it. And he walks over to where the Rocky movies were. And he's like, it's not here. And then the guy's like, okay. And he's like, but wait a minute. Let me go check in the basement. And then he did the thing with the walls where he did
like he was walking down below.
And then just yelled up and he's like, it's not down here, Chip. And then walked back up. And for the next 45 minutes, this old man just wandered the store looking for the staircase down to the basement.
That guy, he's the reason we have that stupid Stallone statue. Guys like him all over Philadelphia. Well, the reason we have that stupid statue.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Chip, can you do a favor? Can you hold up your wedding ring and show people something me and John will never have? A wedding ring? That's awesome. Me and John will have
I
envy.
swallowed mine.
Me and John, yeah. We came real close. Well, we never came close, but So, I'm glad you brought it back to Rocky because there's a big thing in sports football about concussions and head injuries.
Yep.
My feeling is if you're going to an NFL game, you're paying $70 for a ticket, $40 to park, God knows how much for food, drink. I want to see somebody get a concussion. If I'm paying that kind of money, somebody should get a head injury.
Yeah.
Somebody should be incapacitated. I'm paying a lot of money here.
I have that. I agree with you. I feel the same way about football games and piano recitals.
Absolutely,
Same thing. I want some head trauma.
Blood.
Absolutely. When I go to Rita's, I'm paying a lot for water ice. I wouldn't want to see somebody drop down.
Somebody get hit in the head with a hammer.
Somebody just fall over. I mean, that's a lot of money to go to an NFL game. Somebody should be hurt. Somebody should be injured.
I think it's too. I can't figure out UFC though. It's just
brutal.
They just murder each other.
Brutal.
It's like I think the easiest job in the world is a UFC referee because it's not like a boxing referee where you got to do all this stuff, where it's just like you just watch one guy bludgeon a guy to death, and then right when he's about to die, you just suggest that he stops. Like that's all it is.
It reminds me of Catholic school when the nuns would beat you and somebody would suggest he stop.
All right, yeah.
Have you seen the new meme going around about this? They'll show like a guy in a UFC fight as he's getting knocked out.
Yeah.
He'll get hit, the knockout blow.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, someone will CGI in a trombone. He's playing New Orleans music as he's getting knocked out.
Artie Lang, the great Artie Lang, had the best joke about the UFC. He said, it looks like two gay guys were about to have sex, and at the last minute, one guy changes his mind and has to fight his way out of it, which is the greatest line about.
I love those slap fighting contests.
Oh man,
where they just have you seen that? Where it's
No.
it's like arm wrestling. It's like arm wrestling, but instead the one person takes turn and literally slaps the other person as hard as possible, and then the next person does
my
the same
God.
thing. Yeah,
it's brutal.
yeah. It's
Did
wild.
you see that guy? He got the unusually large left arm.
Yeah.
The guy's a regular guy. I guess, this is like the Hulk's arm. He's just the way he's bred. But he enters those competitions.
Yeah.
People's heads are spinning around like
Just,
cartoon characters.
knock them out. Yeah.
Speaking
vote
about
Nader.
fighting, can I tell you one of the funniest afternoons I've ever spent in my life? About 15 years ago, the Reverend Bob Levy, who's a good friend of mine, a great legendary comic, he was scheduled to fight Danny Bonaducci in a celebrity fight. So I'm with him, and he wants to get some boxing tips.
Was Rerun busy?
He's going to fight Danny Bonaducci. So we're coming back from a gig up in Massachusetts. He goes, I'm going to get some boxing tips. So he's driving into Manhattan. And here we're going to Colin Quinn's apartment. And Colin Quinn has a heavy bag in his apartment because he's been a boxer all his life.
Yeah.
So we go in, and Colin Quinn's going to teach Levy how to box.
No.
And I'm just sitting on the couch with a bottle of water, and everything Colin Quinn shows Levy does it wrong. I got, no, that's not it.
He's smoking.
And Colin Quinn keeps looking at me, and it was like the honeymooners. Levy kept messing up. He's doing it. He kept, no. And then finally Colin Quinn says, Bob, you want my advice? Get out of town. Cancel that. It was the funniest. Everything he did it the wrong way, and Colin Quinn would just look at me. It was the funniest thing. And then, if you heard the story, Bob got knocked out in the first round. Like 3 seconds of the first round, he got knocked out by Danny Bonaducci.
Yeah.
It was the funniest afternoon of my life, watching this boxing lesson. Colin Quinn trying to give Bob a boxing lesson.
When he first came to town, it was Danny Bonaducci was on classic rock radio or something, and they got into a slap fight. I'm like, this has got to be like a setup for when he first got to town. But then he actually had a match.
Yeah, but it was the funny, and that was the day when Colin Quinn looked at me and said, "This guy, he looks like a boxing trainer from the 1930s," which is the greatest description ever of me. The second greatest description of me ever was Dave Attell. David Tell said to me, Ed, I want you to solve a mystery for me. And I said, you want me to solve a mystery? He goes, yeah, you're dressed like a detective from a 70s cop show. I figured you'd solve a mystery for me. To get insulted by great comics like that, what the hell? I'll take it. I'll take it. If you're going to get insulted by the best.
The best.
The best. Colin Quinn and Levy and David Tell, those are the best. So big thing going on now, of course, is the protest on all these college campuses. Let me ask you this. If you're a college kid and you're walking around, you see a hot Palestinian girl. Would you go along with death to America, death to Israel, just to get laid? Would you be hollering out? If she was going death, would you join in? You figure you might get laid.
I take her to the Taylor Swift show.
Yeah.
Because then she'd blow it up. And then you did, which actually we'd all benefit if the Palestinian girl blew up the Taylor Swift concert. But seriously, most guys would say, I'll say death to America. Maybe I'll get a hand job for this Palestinian girl. Most guys are going to go along with that. Most guys are going to get... Here's the thing about these protesters who say they support Palestine. They don't mean it. Because if they get a DUI, they're going to call a good Jewish lawyer. You know they are. So they get audited, they're going to call a good Jewish lawyer. So they don't support Palestine. But I think that's why I think most of these protesters are going along with it. They're just trying to get laid. It's just a personal thing.
I just support Norway. Nobody follows my. It's just
Norway
like free
and Denmark.
Norway, and they're like,
Norway.
there's nobody's paying attention to my protest at all.
Dog grooming college.
I yell out death to
Clown college.
Denmark, and nobody gets in on it. But well, that really brought the show into an update when I went into Palestine. I thought there'd be bigger laughs on Palestine. You're telling me Palestine doesn't get the laughs it gets? This is what Seinfeld means by the leftist killing comedy. Palestine doesn't get the laughs anymore. You know the best thing about Seinfeld when he says, I refuse to do college campuses anymore. Seinfeld is 70 years old. Who was asking him to do a college? Who was trying to book Seinfeld on a college campus at age 70?
Yeah.
They don't even know who he is. They're like,
What's the deal with tin soldiers and Nixon's army?
I bumped into him at a NACA conference recently.
Henry Kissinger.
I refuse to do that's absurd. I
Yeah.
refuse to do college campuses.
Yeah.
Him and Jay Leno, they refuse to do college campuses anymore.
Yeah, I refuse to do Carnegie Hall, by the way. Yeah, outright. Won't do it.
That's the best. That's the best. All right, well, I'll get off that topic because that really brought the laugh to talk about the Palestinian protests. You guys have iPhones? You guys have iPhones?
Yes.
Yeah, I just got a brand new one. I had
right.
the oldest one in the world, and then I finally got a new one.
When you get the iPhone, does it make you happy to know that there are teenagers in China putting them together? Do you get a thrill out of it? And you're like, you're having all this excitement because teenage kids in China are making $1 an hour?
Smell the tears and sweat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's part of why you have one, right? It can't be just the technology. It's the Chinese kids making them.
I just hope they're not spitting at him like the teenagers at Burger King. You know what I mean? Yeah, like that's
They're doing
like,
more.
man.
They got to be doing more than that. Come on, they got to be doing more than that. I mean, these Chinese kids. You imagine, the stupid American comedians are walking around with iPhones because you're working all day. That's got to be an awful feeling.
It's really brutal. Like at a comedy show, all you see is a sea of phones before the show starts.
And it's all because of the Chinese teenagers. It's ridiculous.
Did this happen to you guys? I did a show recently, and it was kind of a small show, and there was a woman who was just filming me on her iPhone, and was like, it was kind of the room was well lit, so I could see her very easily, and she's like holding it up at me, and I was like, hey, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm filming you, and I was like, oh yeah, could you? And I kind of made like a little joke, but I was like, yeah, I'd rather you not. Don't film me here. Like that's not a weird thing. She's like, and she just kept filming me, and I was like, all right, no, seriously, like stop filming me. And she's like, okay. And then she kept it, and she's like, I pressed stop, but she's still holding it up. And I'm like, what are you
that's
doing?
the society we live in. Everybody goes around filming all day. Nobody actually lives does anything in life. They just film.
Yeah,
And here we are doing a podcast on a Sunday night.
Yeah, we're live streaming
We're part of the
it. Yeah.
problem.
It kind of goes back with like Seinblatt was saying. Right? About if you say the wrong thing, it comes back to haunt you 20 years later.
Yeah, well, it's like, I don't
It's
need this.
absurd. I've had people actually take pictures of me, and I always think, well, thank God you get a picture of me, because you're gonna need that. Because I look like a young Tyrone Power. So you want to get a picture. I look like a young Troy Donahue. So you want to get a picture of me right quick.
A regular Chris Makepeace over here.
You want to save that. You want to say, I always feel sorry for anybody taking a picture of me. What are you going to do with it? I don't want a picture of me. What the fuck are you going to do with it?
I get mad when they take a picture of me because then it's very distracting when they put the blanket over their head and hold up the flash powder.
And the smoke comes up. It's just awful. is kind of what the. But my feeling is, what is it, iPhone 15 now?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you bought the first 14 iPhones and your life still sucks, stop. It might not be the phone, it might be you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work my bad
I
stand-up.
just got my phone like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so did I. Just
Right?
last week I got mine. Yeah.
But I was so
I had like
embarrassed.
an 8 before that, and then yeah.
I don't think I went like one by one, but I did like
I have an iPhone minus 30. I still have a flip phone. I'm sticking with the flip phone. I'm gonna be
Please take
dragged
Quincy
into the
from me
new
tonight.
technology.
He's
I
playing
love my
Snake.
flip phone. I hope to be buried with a flip phone. And the way I'm going, that
Boobless.
could be any day now. That could be any day. As I told the boys before we started, I actually recently did it. Well, like maybe 2 years ago, I prepaid my funeral. I made a will. I prepaid my funeral. And as I'm sitting there with the undertaker, he said to me, "So what do you do for a living?" And I said, "I'm a comedian." And he said, "Wow, I never buried a comedian before." So at least I gave the guy a thrill. You know, hopefully I won't be his last. You know, I'm no Shaggy Green, but at least I'm no.
Used to be a comic.
I'm no Pat Henry, but I'm a comedian. You know, for that one person out there who got the Pat Henry reference, you know who Pat Henry was? Pat Henry was a little nebbishy little guy, and he used to open for Sinatra. And Sinatra got him a part in one of his movies, The Detective with Tony Rome, one of them. So they're filming, and Pat Henry keeps blowing the line.
Yeah.
And Sinatra's pissed because he wants to get. So he walks out in front of anybody and slaps him across the face to get it together.
Oh my God, that's
Little-
great.
little nebbishy Pat
he's
Henry.
Not the guy. Who's the guy? There was an actor. He was like a little guy, bald, and he had like a really high voice. And he took. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Odd Couple guy.
He was on
voice
the.
of Winnie the Pooh, like one of those guys.
Yes.
Not
Piglet.
Marvin,
I think
Marvin
he-
Kaplan, you're not talking
No,
about?
the other
no?
guy. The guy who had the Lassie dog on the Odd Couple. And
Not
Phil-
Wally Cox?
No, Felix
Wait,
kidnapped
I
him.
think it might have been Wally Cox. Is anyone thinking
Wally
of
Cox
that?
was the guy who was good friends with
He's-
Brando, which is amazing that Wally Cox and Marlon Brando were buddies, but they were.
He was on Bob Newhart show. Wasn't Mr.
Yes.
Carlson? It was the other guy. The
Yeah.
bald head and glasses.
Oh, that guy, Larry Gelman, I think it
Yeah, I
is.
think that's who it is.
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
he
who it
was
is, yeah.
right. He was one of the patients of Bob
Yeah.
Newhart, and he played one of the poker guys,
Yes.
Vinny, on the Odd
Yeah,
Couple. He was
yeah,
on both.
yeah.
That maybe that's who it
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sinatra would always get his comedian guys. He'd get them a role in the movies. He would abuse them, but he'd get them a role in the movies. My favorite story is that Jackie Gale was opening for Sinatra. And he's on stage doing his act, and he hears somebody yelling, "Get off the stage! Get off the stage!" And he thinks, "Who's this fucking heckler?" And he looks over, and it's Sinatra. "Get off the stage! Get off the stage!" He was doing too much. Sinatra was yelling at him to get off the stage. He thought it was a heckler, and it was actually Sinatra. So if you think you have a bad headliner, you got a pretty good headliner if you're a comedian. You didn't open for Sinatra, and you didn't get yelled at. Real quick, O.J. got cremated. O.J. Simpson got cremated. My feeling was he wanted to massacre one more human body on the way out the door. One more for old time's sake. He kept his brand. He ruined the human body with the cremation. I mean, that's. Would you expect anything else from OJ?
Yeah.
And he had the ashes spread over the Playboy Mansion, I heard. I'm not sure, but that's what I've heard. Are you going to miss OJ? Who's going to miss OJ?
I'm gonna miss him. Yeah,
That 1994, 1995, that was like a golden age of comedy. Two people were dead, but it was awesome comedy.
It was the last time we had fun as a nation together.
Norm Macdonald, Howard Stern, David Letterman, Chris Rock. It was great. I mean, it was unfortunate two people had to die, but the comedy was fantastic.
Yeah.
Dancing Edo judges.
Yeah.
I remember
Kato
Stern.
Kalin. I went as Kato Kalin for Halloween that year. Yeah.
Stern had the what's the name of the band again? The Tokens.
Right.
They had remember that song, The Lion
Lion
Sleeps
Sleeps
Tonight?
Tonight, yeah.
Well, he had him do, and he wrote a song parody, OJ song. OJ killed his wife, string him up, string him up, string him up. And it was just these crazy song parody. Letterman every night was doing a top 10 list about OJ and
Yeah.
Judge Ito.
Yeah.
It was just great. Nowadays, you wouldn't be allowed to make fun of it because it was a murder.
Yeah.
Everybody's so sensitive, but it was great. It was like it was just,
Yeah.
comedy was Norm was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Norm was it's so but.
Yeah.
He
Again,
had,
shame dead, but golden age of comedy. Golden age.
and then next year was the Menendez brothers, or right before.
I
Yeah,
think
right
it was
before- yeah,
before
the
that.
Menendez brothers, yeah.
but people had a little fun, but
Yeah.
not the fun they had with OJ.
Not fun with OJ.
Not
Yeah.
the fun
OJ
they had
fun.
with OJ.
Yeah.
OJ and Monica Lewinsky giving out blowjobs was
Yeah.
were the fun part of the 90s. They were
Swallow the leader.
swallow the leader. I'd like to apologize on behalf of all comedians everywhere for I think a guy named Baxter did that joke at an open mic in 1995. Swallow the leader. Swallow the leader. Robbie Roman did that joke at every Pickle Man gig back in the 90s. Swallow the leader. John has to say 5 Our Fathers after this podcast for saying that joke. Swallow the good night. Here's the thing I want to add. I was talking about the news. Did you guys know that Benjamin Netanyahu is the president of Israel? Did you? I thought it was Larry David. I thought Larry David was the president. I didn't know that Benjamin. I got to bone up on my topical stuff because I said, "Who's this Netanyahu? Where's David?" I'm really bad. I go, okay, that was a good joke. No good topic, but I just wanted to sneak that joke in there because I had it, and I'm a laugh whore, and I wanted to sneak it in, and I'm going to be saying 5 Our Fathers at the end of the show tonight. For Christ's sake, I'm going to be saying what else? Oh, the Russia-Ukraine. I got a problem. My dentist is Russian, but my eye doctor is Ukrainian. So when I go, I had to keep switching sides depending on what doctor's office. So I keep it vague. Whenever they're talking about, damn right, I don't blame you. Yeah, well, they were asking for it. Yeah, well, who could? I try to keep it vague. You don't want to be on the side. Because, if you slip up and you're on the other side, you can get really bad medical care. Have you run into that with the Russian-Ukrainian community? You want to make sure what side you're on. Because you want to play both sides of the fence. Yeah. It's sort of like with North Korea and China and everything. You don't know who you're talking. That can really get bad when you run into an Asian person. Because you don't know if they're Korea, China. You don't know what thing to say. You don't want to. You don't know who's. Somebody could be from Taiwan. You don't want to say fuck China or go China because you don't know who you're talking to. You really got to keep it vague when you're talking to an Asian person. Yeah. So when you're talking to an Asian person, just say good things about math. You don't have to say. Don't take a side because you don't know which country you're going to be offending. John, you run into a lot of Asians and up in Northeast Philly.
I was going to say something, but it would be end out of the show.
Yeah. John's gynecologist is from Estonia.
I just use the international sign for hurry up, like whatever. That's all I'll say. No.
You know this is a comedy podcast. Yes, I wasn't sure.
You see, you always make a difference between Asian and Chinese and Japanese and Taiwanese and Korean stuff.
There's a gigantic difference. No white person knows the difference. There's a gigantic difference.
I just make like a skiing gesture with one of my hands, like, hurry up.
Oh, I see. It was a hand job joke. Oh. Thank God I never did those. No, I never did any hand job jokes with Asian people. I'm way above that. Way above that. Thank God. I'll be appearing nightly. Asian Delights in Cinnaminson. Good place. 4 stars. It gets 4 stars in the Zagat Guide. The Asian Delights in Cinnaminson. Not really, but it sort of does.
Guy Fieri gave it 4 stars up.
There you go. This is what I want to talk about. Puff Daddy got raided. Puff Daddy's house got raided. Why do they keep framing some of our finest rappers? Why do our best rappers constantly get framed? Chip, do you have anything? You're a music guy. Why do our finest rappers, they're constantly getting framed?
They're being tricked.
Yeah, I don't think Puff Daddy did much. It was really just Led Zeppelin, but Puff Daddy was just going, yeah, over top of it the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's absurd.
I blame Jimmy Page. Yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Chris Brown was framed. I mean, all these guys keep getting framed. How many times did they try to frame Snoop Dogg? It's amazing. They keep trying to frame these guys.
Young MC's getting away scot-free.
I mean, Suge Knight, that poor guy's gotten framed so many times. It's absurd. But why?
Meanwhile, Rockwell's selling boat wax.
It's amazing how many people get away with stuff, and our best rappers constantly keep getting framed.
There ought to be a law.
There ought to be. We ought to start a petition. Well, not us because we're so white, but somebody ought to start a march.
The guys from third base are involved in a real civil trial right now. It's awful.
Bell Biv DeVoe are hoping to get framed. Hope to get back in the news. There goes that training again, taking us to comedy concentration camp. There it is, with all these bad jokes.
The one of the guys from Bell Biv DeVoe is in real estate now. He's on his card.
Really?
Like the DeVoe.
Oh, I'd love to buy a house in Bell. Right on Indian burial ground. Who's a Bell? Sold me a house. That'd be great. I'm thinking Bell.
I heard good things about him.
Yeah.
DeVoe, not so much.
You buy the house. You push the doorbell and it's like
That's coincidence. MC Hammer's selling cars, so it's a coincidence. All kind of things. They got the side gigs. You can't worry about. You know what's funny, John? You wore the sports jersey because I had that written down. You ever notice the guys who wear sports jerseys look like they've never done a physical activity in their life? Every guy who wears a sports jersey is 300 pounds. They got the ketchup stain down the side of it. They're wearing the Eagles jerseys. You won't see me wearing them. You'll never see an actual guy who looks fit wearing a sports jersey.
I'm gonna develop a line of sports jerseys that have like pockets for ding dongs.
Just with the sippy cup, just IV.
Just them and John Kruk. Yeah.
But you
never do.
Or you see the fat girls wearing them, and maybe they play softball, so they might get a pass. But you never see a physically fit guy wearing a sports shirt. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But they actually dress well.
Yeah.
It's slobs like us who wear sports jerseys.
Yeah, Von Hayes has really let himself go. Yeah.
My cargo pants were on the fritz. My camouflage cargo pants.
All right, let me ask you this. When you order from DoorDash, are you always hoping not to get the fat DoorDash driver? Because you know he's eating your French fries. Right? You don't want the fat DoorDash. You're praying a skinny guy. You see the fat guy pops. Fuck,
man,
look at this. You know he's got his hands in your chicken fingers. You know, you do not want to get the fat. You don't want to get the fat
Here's your half order of onion rings you ordered.
Please, they should have a button. Please send a skinny person. Please send an angry lesbian vegan. Please, don't send a fat guy. Who would want that?
There's videos of that too. That guy has the camera on his car.
Of course, there's video of everything. You can't get away with anything. I thank God my drinking days were before they had all this video stuff, because I'd still be in penitentiary. You imagine? It's amazing what you get away with. But
I always say pick it up. It's ready in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Until you got to wait half an hour for it to come. My idiot friend, my friend who's a milkman.
Oh yeah, the idiot friend is good.
Yeah,
it's a good way to start it.
Here at Chinese food, it was 2 hours late. He told the guy, I don't want this now. It's past dinner time. It was like 2 large wontons before the guy went to his car and threw it, and it hit the back window, exploded in the back of his car. It's all covered rice and donuts and math textbooks and computer parts.
We showed him. But don't you think DoorDash, the popularity of DoorDash is a sign of how lazy women have become? They don't cook anymore. No women. Everybody's going to do it. Where were these women who used to cook? Lazy women. Everybody's going. Yeah, you were saying that right before the podcast, weren't you, John? Women are lazy. I remember you banging the table.
They are lazy, with a capital L.
Back in my day, I just said back in my day, which, as you can see, I actually joined an online dating thing. It's you've heard of OK Computer. The one I joined is called OK Grandpa. How it works is a young woman comes to my house, and I lecture her about how great the 1970s were. Yeah. And she rolls her eyes and says, okay Grandpa. Then after 10 minutes, she leaves, and I fucking love it. Get on there. Okay, Grandpa. It's great.
It's a lady friend.
It's great. Listen, Ozempic. Ozempic is a big thing. If you were a fat person, wouldn't you hate Ozempic? Because now you have no excuse to be fat. Yeah. You were minding your own business, eating potato chips, laying on the couch, having a great life. Now this pain in the ass Ozempic. Wouldn't you be pissed if you were fat? This Ozempic, you used to say, I got a glandular problem. I'm big boned. Yeah. Now you got no excuse to be fat. It just fucked up everything. I'd hate to be a fat person now. You got to be pissed. You got to want to strangle.
Yeah, in my day, if you wanted to lose weight, you did it the old-fashioned way. Heroin.
Exactly.
That's the way you did back in my day.
You smoked a carton of unfiltered Camels, for fuck's sake. My mother smoked L&M cigarettes. She had no weight problem. No. She ended up on an oxygen machine the last 6 years of her life, but she wasn't fat. See, that was the good old days. But if you're a fat person, you got to be furious about this Ozempic. This Ozempic is a pain in the ass. I mean, it's ruined fat people. It's ruined fat people.
You can see online people we know that are on it because they're like skull-like looking. They're like Skeletor from He-Man. And the second you get off of it, you gain it back. It's a placebo, not placebo, fake. Yeah. You gain it back and more. I
don't think it's fair. They just put out the new Nutella flavored Ozempic. Yeah.
And it's a needle, right?
Yeah.
So the same people who are refusing to get the vaccine or lining up to get it's the same anti-vax. They're not sticking at me. Ooh, I can lose weight. Stick it in me. It's the same people. Guaranteed it's the same people. You know it is. Same lunatics. But real quick, before we wrap it up, can you believe how these classic rock bands won't give it up? Chip, are you pissed off at these classic bands?
Yeah, it's like I've seen it at least like. It's like going to I didn't want to visit my grandmama in a home, but now I have to go see the Rolling Stones there, do their thing. All right, yeah, okay, yeah, give me shelter. Give me shelter one more time.
Give me shelter. It means, hide them behind the oxygen machine. That's what the give me shelter is. But it's amazing. These bands, they won't give it up. It's a shame. It's like, thank God I'm not still pursuing something and I'm old. Thank God I wouldn't do that. Now, when I come out with a walker in a week from now, I take all back. But the best is when these guys are and it's like one original member, everybody else is dead.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still charged. It's not like they give you a discount on the ticket.
Yeah.
They're still charging an outrageous price.
I went to see Leonard Skinner, and it was just a guy who saw Leonard Skinner once.
Like the grassroots. Like everybody from the grassroots died in 1975. The oh my God, let's go see the grassroots.
The one guy with the blonde hair from the Moody Blues is touring. And he just got real old looking.
The one guy.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's like blonde hair. He's like singing like nights in, like what's that? He's like nights in, has continental breakfast. Like he's like old. He's like 9 years old.
But speaking of which, Denny Lane, he was in the Moody Blues and Wings. So he tours and he calls it Denny Lane's Moody Wings Experience. Now, if there's any concert they should pay you to see, it's the Denny Lane Moody Wings Experience. Can you imagine paying money to see that? And the guy was used to be with you think McCartney, we could send him a few bucks out, get him off the unemployment line. Denny Lane's Moody Wings. Come see one of my shows. It's the only thing sadder than Denny Lane's Moody Wings Experience is the Ed McGonigal Experience when you see me do it. Well, that was over. You think, did we do enough time? You think who could sit through this? I mean, Chip's got one foot in his car already, for Christ's sake. He doesn't want to be. But
No,
real quick,
by the way, I will be this week.
Bob.
I will be in Pensacola, New Jersey, doing the John Kensil Ed McGonigal Experience. So check me out. Just covers of them. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Check out Chip's. Chip is going to be in the show Tires on Netflix with Shane Gillis. And Chip's got a YouTube special coming out. There's no name for it yet, but there'll soon be a name for it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be called Mr. Kensil's Fairy Tale Lane. I think that's what I'm going for right now.
And if you're a John Kensil fan, he posts all day long on Facebook and Instagram. Nobody in Philadelphia can get a plumbing job done. But John's on Instagram and Facebook 12 hours a day. You have water squirting all over your house like the Three Stooges. He can't help you. But he's on Instagram all day. And you can check me out on Facebook and Twitter and anywhere else. But thanks so much. If Jim Corn doesn't hate this so much, there might actually be a second episode in a couple weeks. We'll see. Thanks for everybody who watched. The great Chip Chantry, the great John Kensil. I'm Mediocre McGonigal. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Comedy. Train.